The podcast was a passion project at first that turned into something far greater than I could have imagined. I think it's a real. I feel just grateful and humbled that all of you, when I asked you from the bottom of my heart whether you would come on the podcast, join me for a discussion, that the vast majority of you didn't hesitate at all. You felt equally honoured. They're not here, don't worry. It's always a leap into the unknown, playing with a new medium and joining someone you may not have met before in person to sort of sit on an uncomfortable beanbag and pour out your heart and talk about your life story. But many of you gave me that opportunity, and I think each episode we've created something great together. Early on, I just remember, when I think back, Joel was here on the first episode, the first recording ever, Joel Fairman right here, and it was different, right? I didn't really know what I was doing, and it's sort of a real steep learning curve and process, but at the core of it, podcasting is just people sitting down, connecting and having a really open, honest and authentic conversation, and I hope to have many more of them in the next year of podcasting. So the podcast has sort of been through a rocky road, and I think at the start it was sort of generally moving up in its trajectory, but we started, I think Joel's episode had about 20 people listen to it.
Right. That's why I got a call back.
Yeah, that's why I got the call back. But now there's about 600 people a week who listen to the podcast in less than a year, and that is far more than I could have ever hoped for. I'm just doing this mainly because I enjoy it every week. Every week I get a chance to have great conversations with people like you, and I just want to keep doing that. So that's the path that the podcast is on. I'll be trialing a little bit of live podcasting of events next year, because I think podcasting has a lot of potential, not just as a way to reflect on deeper material during commuting or other getting from A to B, but really to elevate engagement at events and after events. So trying to capture the experience and that inspiration you have at an event and really make that endure for longer over time. So we'll be seeing whether we can do that next year at the Purpose Conference in Sydney, which is incredibly exciting. And we'll also be teaching more people, both not-for-profits and corporates, how to podcast, running workshops. So it's gone from a passion to something I'm enjoying doing every week and really exploring as a business tool as well. And I think it's a good time to be having this event next week. On Monday, I'll be at the Government House doing a podcast. So it's just amazing how far it's come, and to sort of be on the radar and doing things like that. I just feel really honoured, and I want to thank you all so much for being part of it this year. And thanks so much for coming. And please do enjoy the spread. And I also really glad that you had the chance to meet each other, because a podcast can be me and everyone so much. Now is a chance for everyone for all such special people to get to meet each other as well. So hope you have a great night.